It's been a good week. The sun's shining. I'm feeling good. I'm going to wind you up right now, Van, and just wind you up like a tight little yo-yo and then let you go, because there's a couple of films that are out on digital from Monday the 1st of June, which I know you are just itching, itching like a cat's paw to start talking about. What we got?
This is the weirdest thing. Okay, so you remember, obviously, when lockdown first came into effect, Universal, one of the very first studios who tackled the changing release strategy head on. They released Trolls World Tour, which has angered US theatre owners, but they started putting out a lot of their more recent films to digital platforms, films like The Hunt, The Invisible Man, Emma, things like that. Mostly all really good movies. They did, however, seemingly decide to save their two biggest turkeys, their two clunkiest stinkers, for last. Well, I say last in the metaphorical sense. We are getting the digital releases of both Dolittle and Cats this week. Let me start with Dolittle, and we'll take a run up to this, shall we? We'll start with Dolittle. Latest vehicle for Robert Downey Jr., who has entered the post Iron Man phase of his career. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does from here on in. And this has been the much delayed attempt to parlay the old Dr. Dolittle novels into an action-friendly family franchise along the lines of something like Pirates of the Caribbean. It shows because the film feels very much like the kind of thing you would hire Johnny Depp for in about 2009, 2010, about the time he was ruining Alice in Wonderland, things like that. Robert Downey Jr. as the traumatized Dr. Dolittle, who must go on an adventure with a new sidekick he has met 2 minutes prior, and another new sidekick he met 10 seconds after that, on an adventure to find a rare flower that can cure Queen Victoria. Said flower, of course, being the exact quest item his late wife, an adventurer, was on as well. He must, of course, take his band of talking animals with him. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little sample of the sort of tone of this, because, interestingly, there are no clips for Dolittle still. So the only clip you can get, really, is a sampling of the trailer.
We have no choice but to embark on this perilous journey.
Everyone pack your bags!
You can talk to animals.
I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I.
It's okay to be scared.
No.
Which doesn't really sell it, if we're honest. So,
do you know what? I don't think I've ever heard you go so John Oliver on a film before, but this is exactly what you're doing right now. Even in the lead up to the clip, your anger is, you deserve canned applause and laughter here. This is this is you in your element.
Right, I'm going to quote Kermode when I say this. It's not that I'm angry, I'm disappointed. That's what it is.
Oh, even worse.
And I literally got to sit in a room with Robert Downey Jr. and Emma Thompson and Tom Holland before this started, and it still somehow sucked. It's a mess of a film. You can go into there's a lot of stuff written about the production history of it. It was a disaster. The film itself is not a whole heap better. I think I scored it. It wasn't the worst film to do with talking animals that I saw within sort of 6 weeks, I would say. If you've got really young kids. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's too much too soon if you're saying there's a 6-week gap between two very bad animal-based movies.
I will say, my 18-month-old nephew has been shown this film and he adores it. He thinks it's great. He is, however, 18 months old and cannot speak yet. So I'm pretty sure if he could, he would beg and plead us to turn it over, but he seems to be enjoying it. This and the live-action Lion King, he seems to really enjoy.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay, so available on Monday the 1st is Dolittle. If you are just intrigued to see what a car crash movie looks like, I think Van has given you a nice little lead in to it. Now, speaking of car crashes, let's talk about a cat crash. We're talking about Cats, which is the second movie that I think Van saw in 6 weeks. And I think it did something to his mental health. Is that right?
I think it really did. It's worth noting that this movie screening did turn into the collective film critics of London Christmas Party 2019 because we got to see Star Wars straight afterwards. I'm so sorry. It's such a shame that you weren't there. You would have loved it, Bex. I had a great night. Everyone was drinking.
Out of principle. Out of principle, I did not go. Yes, unfortunately. So
now,
there.
On principle, I will say this: on principle, you should not watch Cats. Okay, that is on the principles of the fundamental support of narrative cinema as a concept. Cats is a movie that calls to mind that time in 1997 when Richard Ashcroft of The Verve famously sang "Like a cat in a bag, waiting to drown." That is exactly how I felt during the entirety of Cats, Tom Hooper's adaptation of the iconic stage show, which I'm told, if you've seen it, the film is wonderful. The only problem with that is that's not how adaptations work. Have a little listen.
What's your name?
Cat got your tongue?
Here we go!
Don't mess with the crazy cat lady.
Now it is time to make the choice.
Right, here's the thing. You won't like it because you've not seen the stage play is not much of an excuse for something. I've never seen anyone hung, drawn, quartered, tortured, violated in any way. I still really enjoy the Saw movies. Just saying. Cats.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hung, drawn, and quartered like Judi Dench in this movie, and I was about to say, oh, Judy.
No, only her artistic integrity. Cats is a disaster. I couldn't possibly say more. Should we just move on to something a lot more fun?
Okay. I wouldn't want to anger you just before the weekend, especially seeing it's a nice sunny day. Let's move swiftly on, guys. I think you know the general consensus, which has been since Christmas around Cats. It ain't good. But again, if you are intrigued to see what a catastrophe might look like, then definitely check it out. So the third
catastrophe.
Yes, I know. You see what I did there. Let's move swiftly on to something marginally better, if not edging on much better. Mike Wallace is here. You talked to me a little bit earlier about how this is a movie that works in a similar vein to A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. It's a good kind of idea. If you know the person, it will give you a nice sort of insight into their lives.
Actually, more than that, I think this is closer to the documentary about Fred Rogers in terms of that sort of cultural window of knowledge, etc.
Right.
The Won't You Be My Neighbour, I think, was the documentary. This is a chronicle of the life and career of Mike Wallace, who, of course, is known in sort of, in the media as, the face of 60 Minutes in the US. Like, we know him to look at. We just don't really know his work in the UK as such. Documentary that chronicles his rise, which there's a lot in there I didn't know about, and, sort of the attitude towards him and the things he achieved afterwards. I'll give you a little sniff before I get to sort of the kicker on this one.
There is a new billionaire in town. Trump's the name. Donald Trump is a major deal maker, a swashbuckler. Donald, you're in your late 30s. You got 40 years to live, minimum.
Well, I hope you're right about that.
What are you going to do?
There are a lot of things to do. A fertile imagination and a good fertile mind, Mike, it's really amazing what can be thought of. There are so many things to do.
Politics?
So many. No, not politics.
You've said that you could do a better job at negotiating an arms control agreement with the Soviets than some of these professionals who've been trying to do it for years.
I didn't say me, Mike. I said somebody has to do it. If it were me, that'd be fine. I could do it. Somebody has to help this country, and if they don't, the country and the world are in big trouble. Because within a short period of time, as sure as we're sitting here, there's not going to be a country and there's not going to be a world.
Of course, Mike Wallace, to sort of someone like you and I, would be known primarily for his involvement in the story of The Insider, which we know from the Michael Mann movie with Russell Crowe and Al Pacino. We do get to see that unfold here. It is an interesting story. I would argue that if you don't know Mike Wallace, there is still a very interesting story about the relationship between journalism and sensationalism, the relationship between investigative journalism and showbiz. That's something that comes up a lot. If that's a subject that does intrigue you, do absolutely check this out. It's hard to top in that regard. Having said that, though, if the media in general is something, if seeing the portrayal of news on film is something you enjoy, unmissable. If you don't have any interest in those things, though, this is not going to warm you up, but it's a Dog Wolf documentary, so you know that you're already starting on a good level, because they're always at least pretty good when they're on the Dog Wolf label, to be honest.
I do love a good Dog Wolf documentary. Okay, so there's your selection on digital, available from Monday. That is your big theatrical films, moving on down to the small screen. Coming up in just a few short moments, we have your big movies on TV, so stay tuned.